everyone, my name is Siddhi Raut. I'm currently a freshman in high school, and today I'm going to talk about the high altitude balloon launch that I was so lucky to be a part of, and all of my research that went along with it. So a little about me first. As I mentioned before, I'm a freshman in high school, and everything has been okay as far as how school is currently going. A bit different than I'm used to, but it's alright. That's me in the astronaut suit at the NASA Space Center in Houston. It was really awesome. But anyways, what I really wanted to talk about was my passion for space and how I ended up being in a part of this amazing project in the first place. So ever since I was a little girl, I've always loved space. I would go out at night and look up at the moon and stars, and I was always fascinated by them. So from a young age, I would be reading all of these space books about our universe and black holes. Black holes especially, since they are my most favorite thing ever. And so that's the reason why I joined this group called LCATS in the first place. I wanted to be with people like me who didn't get bored when I started talking about sciencey stuff, like my friends did, and I wanted to be a part of this generation that would go to the moon, Mars, and possibly even beyond. Now, what is LCATS? LCATS is a 4-year space STEM program where students look into space exploration, space architecture, and emerging new technologies. The students also take part in real-life space exploration problems, especially those directed towards the moon. Also, LCATS was founded by the Wex Foundation. The Wex Foundation is a company founded to inspire students from all over to pursue their dreams in STEM by exposing them to space exploration technologies. And the Wex Foundation has a main goal to inspire this generation to make humanity an interplanetary species. So during my first year in LCATS, I'm now in my second year. The high altitude balloon launch was this major project that my group and I worked hard on all year long. We were able to do this in the first place because of Magnitude.io. Magnitude.io is a company that works with schools all over the globe to incorporate science, math, and engineering processes in real-life situations. They work together with many learning programs, like LCATS, through flying high-altitude balloons and rockets, and help students conduct some astrobotany research like those aboard the International Space Station. So, as I mentioned before, my group and I, about 23 people give or take, were tasked with the high-altitude balloon launch, and we took several steps to do that. We started by asking ourselves some questions, as you can see on the chart on this slide. We first wanted to know, how does the balloon work? We needed to know how it worked because the environment up there is way more different than the environment right here on surface level. We also wanted to ask ourselves what variables can affect our performance and how can we overcome such variables. And finally, we wanted to know what ethical experiments can we conduct while the balloon is high up there. Before I move on, I wanted to talk about how my team and I worked. We didn't have any leader of any sort. We just collectively researched and talked with one another. If one person had a question or needed help, we would all make an effort to help them. We also did a lot of brainstorming. We did that on a huge whiteboard in a computer lab. And as a group, we came up with 3 possible experiments that we wanted to do. The first experiment we wanted to do was to send some sort of bug up there and just see what happens to it. What effects would that harmful radiation have on it? The second experiment we wanted to do was to see where a few of Earth's ozone holes are, or just measure radiation levels. The third experiment we wanted to do was to send some sort of bacteria up there and see the effects of ionizing radiation. But of course, in order to even conduct any of these 3 experiments, we would need the balloon to go past the Earth's ozone layer. Truly, I loved each and every idea for the experiments, but there was one that really got me excited, and that was the bacteria. I was excited to see how bacteria would respond to the solar radiation. Would the harmful radiation impact reproduction? Would it cause any sort of mutations? Could the bacteria be radiation resistant? And if any mutations occurred, Could it have any impact on human health? So I did a bit of research about this topic. Somehow I got even more interested in this, but here's what I found. The radiation up beyond the ozone layer is different than it is here on Earth. Harmful high-energy rays like gamma rays can have deadly consequences on living organisms, including microorganisms such as bacteria. This harmful radiation, known as ionizing radiation, can result in actual DNA and RNA strand breaks, or even more severe damages. The strand breaks actually cause problems for protein productions and abnormalities in gene expression, or it could cause some sort of mutation. But the protein is what is especially damaged in the bacterial organism. Some bacteria can protect their protein, making them radiation resistant, and vice versa. The net damage to the bacteria depends on many factors, like what methods does it use to protect itself, the rate at which the damage is repaired, and how bad the damage really is. And oh my god, look at this. You wouldn't want that to happen to your DNA. This is just awful. So over here you can see how the ionizing radiation penetrates through the plasma or cell membrane of the bacteria and all the effects it has on the bacterial organism. So that's pretty cool. Now, everything was going all according to plan until the pandemic, so we had to cancel our plans for the balloon launch along with any experiments that we wanted to conduct. But we decided to make the best of this situation, and we came up with another idea, an around-the-world balloon launch. Since my team and I couldn't really meet personally, we utilized Zoom and other online resources to have team meetings almost every single week, and we would talk about the balloon and what possible paths the balloon would take using resources from NOAA and earth.nullschool.net for weather modeling. We also used Weather Underground to look at the weather to decide when the best day would be to launch our balloon, and as a team we decided that it would be on the 3rd of June. The balloon launch was held virtually, and it was so cool to me to see something that everyone has worked so hard on actually floating up in the air. We used to track the balloon and get updates on the balloon using a website called aprs.fi, and for about 1 week everyone was constantly checking on the balloon. It was the first thing and the last thing that I did each and every day until we realized that the balloon had stopped at a certain point, and then we knew that it had indeed popped. And it almost went around the world. It launched from Berkeley, California, and ended up somewhere around the Sea of Japan, and that was epic. That was really cool to me. So what first started as this idea to launch a balloon past the Earth's ozone layer to conduct an experiment turned into this around-the-world balloon launch. And this is beneficial since you could have long-term consistent data and you have the opportunity to learn and discover so much more. However, I still want to do so much, and the next opportunity I get, I want to send bacteria up there. This whole experience inspired me to study Deinococcus radiodurans, a bacteria that has the overall capability to survive intense ionizing radiation in space and survive those harsh conditions. There's this really exciting possibility that they could survive on Mars, and that means that they could play a major role in interplanetary colonization. So, my next steps. I would want to measure the ionizing radiation and send bacteria up past the ozone layer, and have a control group here on Earth. Once the balloon returns, I would look at the results and try to see if there's anything, if anything happened, or if, even more exciting, if there's any sort of relationship between any variables. So, that's my presentation, and I really hope you like it. The whole experience was really fun for me, and it's really one to remember. Thank you so much.